Excuse me, kid. I notice you reading over that wanted poster. You seem like you can handle yourself. Any chance you'll be going after Red Bear? I'll tell you why. I've been tracking Red Bear for over a decade. He butchered most of my family back in Utah and took my niece. I was old enough when I started this thing, and now I'm wearing down, kid. I hate to admit it, but Red Bear has outlasted me. I'm damn near broke. But if you can find my niece, I'll see to it that you're rewarded. She's all I got left in the world. If you just agree to search for her, I'll set you up with 100 caps. But let's be honest, that's chump change compared to the bounty. And I've got information that should put you right on his trail. How about it? That's mighty large of you, kid. I've traveled far and wide, and there ain't many with that kind of character. Here's the deal. Red Bear takes his captives to raiders and tribals all over the region, but he's got a special arrangement with the Vipers. Red Bear hates the Khans, so he supports their sorry-ass rivals with discounts on captives, which the Vipers then trade for arms and ammo. One of Red Bear's old henchmen, Slade, is now a ringleader for the Vipers, so it's working out even better for both sides now. Red Bear has a reliable trading partner, and the Vipers are making moves to undermine the Khans. I scoped out the Vipers moving some captives to the south of town. They don't keep captives for more than a few days, so a deal with Red Bear must have gone down recently. If you can find Slade, you can get some information on Red Bear. I'm too old to take these bastards on, but I bet you're up for it. Any questions? Where do I start? His name really is Red Bear. He grew up in a rough tribe in the plains and acquired the title after killing a bear at an early age. He was banished from his tribe in his teens after defying his father, the chief. It didn't take long before he formed his own band and went to work. Years later, he exterminated the upper caste of his old tribe and took pleasure in executing his own father. Of course, patricide is one of his minor offenses. He's killed men, women, and children through multiple territories for decades. Most raiders are afraid of him, and at the very least they respect him because of his reputation for ruthlessness. He wasn't always on his own, however. He started out under a fellow named Marco, who taught Red Bear everything he knows. Rumor has it that Marco is the only man alive that can scare old Red Bear. They parted ways years ago, with one going east, the other going west. Any more questions? Well, it feels like it was a lifetime or two ago, but I work for the government, sort of. It doesn't matter. After that fell apart, I set up a family in Utah where I thought we could get in on Brahmin herding. Things weren't meant to work out that way, I guess. Any more questions? No, I'm afraid that doesn't ring a bell. You got any other questions? I lost it 10 years ago when Red Bear put a pistol round through my eyeball. There wasn't much left of the eye after that. Any more questions? Well, I hope the information helps you. I don't even know if she's alive, but if you find my niece, her name is Polly. I just want to settle the score with Red Bear. You can find me at the saloon here in Good Springs. Good luck out there, kid. I'm counting on you.
You can always trust a man with one eye. No, really. Hey!
You are in the wrong place at the wrong time, asshole. I'm Gustav, one of the Vipers. You got a lot of balls to come strolling into our camp. Well, if you're just talking, that's fine. Between you and me, I'm no friend of Slade. So do what you gotta do. I'll steer clear while you're there.
Hey.
Whoa! Whoa!
That's the way. Raoul, smell like a burned out shithouse.
Our guys put the
Watch out!
monorail back to work.
Watch out!
Hello, sir. What can I do for you?
I'm afraid that Ike was in the middle of a dreadful losing streak, and he elected to blame me for his misfortune. Poor soul. He was just too high-strung. Before the war, I was an orthodontist, and while I've ceased practicing, I still enjoy using the title. It lends weight to the name, don't you agree? Chasing Red Bear, are you? Many impetuous souls have pursued that rogue, and they might as well have been chasing the devil himself. However, I am loath to denounce your endeavor entirely, as Red Bear is a scoundrel of the lowest order. After all, he is just a man, and, as the real Romans would say, memento mori. We ghouls are an exception, of course. As for information, you might try accosting the local viper hoodlum Slade. Firstly, congratulations on exterminating that nuisance. Like most of the raider refuse, he had little regard for decorum. He and his petty outlaws had a habit of preying on defenseless females. I simply cannot abide a man who disrespects women. However, with Slade dead, I'm afraid you're at an impasse in your search. Nevertheless, I might have a possible lead. I do know that Red Bear has extensive dealings with Mr. Norman Meston, a brutish individual who operates Shadow Company. Shadow Company is a rather shady mercenary outfit, but they manage to thrive out here on the fringes of the NCR. Only inside the bowels of a heavily guarded bunker. It's an unappealing route to Red Bear, but it's a route nonetheless. Here's a location. Meston should have documentation of his dealings with Red Bear. I'm not privy to the details, but they have been trading for at least a decade. They call them Shadow Company for a reason. It's a crude yet accurate description of their secretive nature. Various factions rely on them because they conduct all operations with the utmost confidentiality. As for Meston, I don't know much about the man other than that he has a tremendous capacity for physical violence. Rumor has it that the company's profits finances implants and other unnatural augmentations to the body. And where you find Meston, you'll find his rabid lackey, Mr. Joshua, a vicious little cur and utterly loyal to Meston. I see I have not dissuaded you. If you manage to survive, I hope you return to the saloon and visit a bit. And one more thing. If you are going to pursue this in earnest, I'll advise you to consult with Mr. Dent, the gentleman sitting at the bar. I believe he's had dealings with Shadow Company in the past, although they were anything but amicable. Farewell, and good luck.
Hello again, friend. What can I do for you?
Yes, he's a key figure in an organized crime syndicate. Supposedly he had extensive dealings with that corpulent pervert, the judge. The prevailing rumor is that Mr. Fisk has come under significant pressure from his own superiors since you've disrupted their interests. If Mr. Fisk is removed, it will only exacerbate the power vacuum rendered by the judge's demise. I certainly wouldn't shed tears for either of those bastards, but I'll worry who might replace them. Nature abhors a vacuum. He is an ill-bred, flagitious cur bent on pillaging and destruction. Despite his bucolic origins, he possesses considerable intelligence and cunning. I saw him on one occasion in the town of Dalhart, a dusty stopover on the plains. He was trading in hides and chattel, an accepted practice there. His eyes said it all. He had a stare that was more barren and dehumanized than that irradiated step. He was young, but I knew what he was. He has long since been a pestilence in those parts, though I estimate he is aging by now. It's been 30 years since I saw him that time. If the law doesn't catch him, then time will, my friend. I grew up before the war and was blessed with a strong upbringing and a classical education. Both have served me well in these troubled times. My father died when I was rather young, so my brother Joseph and I were close. That was a lifetime, 2 lifetimes ago. Joseph was taken from me before the war. I don't normally like to speak of it, but it's been so long. Joseph was the sheriff in our hometown. What he lacked in loquacity, he made up for in decisiveness. He was an honest man, more honest than I ever was, at least. He was a rock, I thought he could never die. One weekend, a drifter made his way into town and, for no apparent reason, killed Joseph. He shot him in the back, they said. The state police eventually found the perpetrator, a man by the name of Johnny Rounder. He was tried and sentenced to death. He sat on death row for 2 years, and after countless appeals and delays, the execution date was finalized, October 24th, 2077. It was a day too late as things turned out. The airburst over Fort Benning produced enough radiation to kill almost everyone shortly afterwards. I watched my family wither away, my own son turning pale, his hair falling out, crying. I wanted to die with them, but I lingered on. I fell asleep next to my wife as she died and prayed to die with her. Instead, the next morning I woke up looking at Johnny Rounder. He was holding Joseph's badge, admiring it like it was a long-lost trophy. He'd already changed. He just looked at me and said, "Now you got something to live for, Doc," and then walked away. I've been following that bastard for 200 years, and it's going to end here. I can feel it. We've killed each other several times over, if you're measuring pain. He had experience with a pistol and was able to outduel me at first. For years it was just a game. He'd leave me broken and bleeding in some remote spot. But in time the game stopped. It was around 2190, I think. We were somewhere in Texas, someplace where they still had trees near Louisiana. I caught him coming out of the saloon, but it wasn't some craven ambush. I looked him in the eyes first, then I put a .357 slug in his gut. He mangled my arm and managed to get away, thanks to his gang. We've faced off at least a dozen times since then, but never with any resolution. For the last few years, he's been running a gang outside the NCR at Legion's respective territories. However, with the regional power players and the judge gone, there is an opportunity for a ruthless prick like Johnny. Besides, I know how he thinks. He'll be here, sooner rather than later. If not for the power, then for me. If you ever get a lead on him, look me up. I'd do anything to get another shot at him. I was wanted for questioning in regards to a minor altercation in the adjacent territory. Randall was prompted by his employers to pursue me. Randall was very professional about the whole affair, and realizing I was a fellow Southerner, he was willing to discuss the matter. We settled it with a card game, which I handily won. Randall was a gentleman about the affair and left it at that. In case you're wondering whether I cheated, I'll say this. Any man who wouldn't cheat when gambling for his freedom is a damn fool. It's simply a shame what happened to Randall. He carried himself with a rare combination of strength and calm. He was very poised, and I can tell you that if your profession depends on using a gun, poise counts for more than anything. He's a veritable psychopath who places engraved harmonicas in the mouths of slain opponents. How he acquires such a steady supply of harmonicas and the means to engrave them is beyond me, but that is his moniker. He was born from the same putrid stock as Marco, so villainy is in his bloodlines.
Bye.